Hello and welcome everybody over on SpeedGaming. It is the Schwantz27. I am joined tonight in the commentary booth by Elastioid. How are we doing tonight?
I am doing so well, Schwantz. It's a second qualifier for this tournament here, and we've got four really we've got at least three racers on stream that are pretty good.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. The first qualifying race was on Sunday. We are going to have another qualifying race tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on one of the SpeedGaming family of networks, so be sure to check that out as well. But first, let's take a step back. What in the heck are we watching? Well, this is Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. It's an open world Final Fantasy VI, or as some people in the US call it, Final Fantasy III. Randomizer. The characters that we get are randomized, their abilities are randomized, the items that are in shops and chests are randomized, the spells that are on espers are randomized, the boss locations are shuffled amongst themselves, and the goal is to unlock and defeat Final Kefka. And as you see on the screen, we need to get to 6 characters and 10 espers. Those are the gold numbers that you see there on the tracker, and we start with 3 characters. There is a Kefka Tower skip at 18 different checks. We actually get 2 espers to start off, don't we, in this set of options, Elastioid?
That's correct. So they're going to be looking for 3 characters and 8 espers. Given the number of dead checks, that can actually be a little bit difficult. Interestingly enough, the auction house in this qualifier flag set will not have any espers in it. So if they're going for it, they're just going for high tier items, and that could be an interesting option if you're sort of low on power. But beyond that, I don't expect anybody to be popping into the auction house.
Yeah, we do give our runners 3 high tier items to start off with. So if we don't find anything, remember there are, I guess, 2 different tiers of high tier items, right? There are the good items and the ones that are good but not really all that good. So if we don't find something within the first 10 minutes or so of the seed, then we're going to be looking for some of those optional objectives. So we'll see who our characters are and what our high tier items are. Looks like we got Gogo, Terra, and Shadow to start off with.
Absolutely. Yeah, Terra and Shadow, 2 really easy free checks to get started. It looks like Drew's going to immediately head to Sealed Gate. Nobody War and Jav going to see what's in Gao's father's house first. Looks like we started out with an Illumina. That is not a bad thing to find. And the espers, we've got a Strength +2 esper as well. Having a Strength +2 or a Magic Power +2 at the very beginning can be game changing, because you're getting that from level 3. Like when you hit level 23, you've got 40 points of magic power or strength from that. That is very, very different.
Yeah, so in Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, there is a concept called character gating, whereby the events that you can get the rewards from are tied to the characters that you currently have. So with this party, we do have Drew going to the Sealed Gate Cave. That's one of Terra's checks. We have Nobody War going to another free check here, which is the Go-Go Zone Eater spot. And Javinator just went to Gao Manor. I did not see what the reward was there. So maybe if somebody in the chat caught it, they could shout it out. An Illumina is really nice. That Aura Lance is also really nice, because I believe Terra has Jump, as I'm seeing in the list of commands, and Shadow has X Magic. So the commands, again, are shuffled amongst the characters that we have. So we got a couple of good things to start off early on, but our runners are always looking for more. And the cave to the Sealed Gate is really nice, because there are a lot of treasure chests in this Imperial base that we'll see on Javinator's screen. And then there's all the treasure through the Sealed Gate Cave as well here.
Absolutely. Looks like they're starting with 2 Aura Lances, and it's always nice when your character with Jump is able to equip the Aura Lance. Not only can they use the Dragon Horn, but they've got an extra relic shot or slot to use the Gauntlet, and that's going to double your damage again. So it becomes very, very powerful early.
Couple nice items there in the Imperial base basement. Try saying that 5 times fast. There's an ice shield, as well as a fixed dice. So in case we didn't have something for Gogo to perhaps jump with, we could also use that fixed dice at some point as well. So that's really nice to find there.
So I'm not sure if Drulith will have that, because I saw something interesting on his screen. He went to the sealed cave, to the Imperial base first, and he went for a fight there, looking to get some early experience, but it was the M-Tech armor fight, which does not give you any XP, so he reset out. I'm not sure that he went back in to grab any of the stuff in there.
Yeah, he'll definitely be back at some point later on, but another Esper is the reward from Gogo's Zone Eater Cave, and it has speed +2 on that Esper, plus life 3.
Oh, man, speed +2 is absolutely the dream on a jumper. I mean, strength is useful as well, but speed, you're going to find, you land a lot faster when your character has a lot of speed. So this seed being very, very generous early in terms of the kind of builds that you can have. Lumina is a build on its own, and then, when you have a character with jump, a speed Esper, a strength Esper, and they're able to equip Aura Lance, yeah, it's an easy time. Incidentally, it looked like they had started with 2 Aura Lances, and Gogo also able to equip it. So, the number of Dragon Horns you have is the number of Dragoons you have there.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, I know we had talked about this briefly off stream, but one of the objectives is to set the Zozo clock, and the reward for that is an imp set. So had we not found something like, a couple of Aura Lances in our goodie bags that were given out, or that fixed dice, one could perhaps go for an Imp Dragoon build, which is really a heck of a lot of fun, and not something you get to do in a race very often, but I don't think we'll see that tonight.
Probably not. Now, we'll see if the Colosseum does come into play. Colosseum rewards here are vanilla, which means in the event that you can't find a Dragon Horn, but you really, really want one, like if you have a character with jump, you can actually procure one from a Charm Bangle, a Safety Bit, a Gold Hairpin, or an Economizer. So, Dragon Horn actually quite easy to obtain if you're trying.
Yeah, interestingly enough, you also will get, I believe, another high tier item for winning a Colosseum match in this particular flag set here tonight. That's another one of those optional objectives you can go do. So we'll see if any of our runners decide to go do that. As I mentioned, the first 5 or 10 minutes is just snuffing out the seed to see what we've got. A very cheap to Zen Thief there, $5,700. That's a nice piece of equipment. Really nice stat boosts on everything, plus a lot of defense. So the problem is we have to see who can equip it, right? And with Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, specifically this particular flag set, with the items that could be equipped, it is the vanilla equipment plus a random 50-50 chance. So there's a 50-50 chance that somebody other than Realm, I believe, is the only one that could equip it in the vanilla, or maybe Strago too, right?
I believe it's Realm and Strago, yes. So, I mean, that's sort of a useful way, like if you find useful equipment, you're likely to be able to use it with one of your characters, but you do have to make decisions about who's going to use what. And yeah, it looks like all 3 of our runners here going to just continue to check all of these free chests and everything. I'm a fan of this strategy. I know that a lot of players tend to spend a lot less time shopping around and grabbing free checks than I do. But in this case, you got 3 free checks, 1 for each character. And it's sort of tempting. I think the question with these Shadow Seeds is always Floating Continent. Because Floating Continent has 2 non-dead checks, and if you're gonna do it, you want to do it early. So, do you think that we're gonna see some divergence here on that?
Yeah, especially with starting with 2 Espers, that just bumps up the amount of dead checks that are out in the pool. I did see Drulith throw down a fat stack of 80 fire rods that he picked out from one of the shops. So we know what Drew is going to be doing all seed. Nobody War picking up an Atma weapon in the cave to the sealed gate. And I did not exactly see what the reward is for Javinator, but I know he's at 3 characters, 2 espers. So the sealed gate cave was a dead check. I don't know what item it was. Nobody War found the only esper in our free checks, because I believe Drewless showed us the force shield that was at the end of the cave to the sealed gate here.
And we're going to see what it is that Drewlith is going to purchase here. Looks like he's gone to the auction house to see what's up. Got a Cherub down and 1 high-tier item. Cherub down, not really the best thing to find, but we're scoping out here.
Yeah, I couldn't see. Maybe it was a duplicate of another item we already had, right? Because you said that we got an Illumina to start. So I didn't exactly see anything jump out at me. That's one of the annoying things about having just a high tier item as a reward. You can't actually tell what it is unless you're paying attention. And, you know, as commentators, we should be paying attention.
Nobody War found an offering and an Atma weapon.
Nice.
So that on its own, also quite a build. And it's going to take a random fight in Sealed Gate and find a Black Dragon. That's a nice, easy fight. Get you some XP there.
Yep, those undead enemies, just throw Revivifies or Phoenix Downs at them. One thing to note, different from our standard race flags, is that undead bosses have been restored. So if we run into something like a Ghost Train or a Haydn or a Senor Behemoth the second phase, we could just throw a Revivify or Phoenix Down at them. And this is another Yicky fight here, a level 50 magic. That is actually also an undead enemy, but we have Offering with fixed dice on Go-Go, so this thing's going to die off pretty quickly here.
Unclear why Nobody War is taking this fight, considering it offers no experience points. I mean, possibly wanted to learn the magic, but...
Yeah, Life 3, Break, I saw as well as a couple of spells, so interesting that he was going to do that. Drew, however, is going to take off the Moogle Charm here and grind at the South Figure Cave. We do give our runners 3 Moogle Charms, which is 1 for each party in Kefka's Tower. They can either keep it on to avoid the random encounters or take it off in order to get experience, and that's what a couple of our runners here are deciding to do, while Javinator is still searching around, picking out a Mario hat from that crate there.
Yeah, so a lot of diversity in what you're seeing on the screen, but the runners are actually all doing the same 3 checks right now. But it looks like both Nobody War and Drewlith looking to find some power here. They're going to be taking some early fights. I kind of agree with this. You know, they've taken some cheap fights, or there's some cheap checks, and now they have to worry about the position of the scaling.
Yeah, so let's talk about scaling a little bit. In Worlds Collide, in this particular set of options, our enemies are at level characters plus espers plus dragons times 2.5. So for both Drewlith and Javinator, that's level 12.5-ish. For Nobody War, he's got an extra piece of what we call progression. So for him, that is going to be level 15 on his enemies. Now, there's a